In this episode, we will discuss what the green transition means from a gender perspective, whether it is creating equal opportunities for women, the barriers that limit women's participation in green industries, and how governments, businesses, and communities can ensure that women are not left behind as we move towards a low carbon and a climate resilient future. Kindly subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It is 100% free. You don't have to pay anything. You can also follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Prof, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Francis. I'm happy to be here.
Prof, introduce yourself to us and tell us why you are interested in the field of green transition. Why green transition?
Okay, thank you very much. As you mentioned my name. You left out the Daniella. So I'm Professor Daniella Delali, Sedegah. I'm a lecturer with the Department of Sustainable Development and Policy. I believe that my research and teaching focus on gender in policy and planning, climate change adaptation, water resource governance, community development has afforded me an interdisciplinary lens through which I view sustainability. My interest in the green transition comes from a concern that as climate action is speeding up, gender inequalities are often overlooked. In most African countries, and I can speak for Ghana, where I come from, women are most affected by climate change, and this is attested in even literature. Even as they are affected mostly by the climate change, they are least represented in the green economy sector. I believe that the green transition, well-intentioned, should not be only environmentally sound, but should also be socially just and inclusive of women. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. You've already addressed part of the question I wanted, my next question, but let me get more perspective from you. Why do we even talk about gender lens when discussing or having conversations on green transition? Why should that be part of the conversation? And what does it even mean by green transition? I think let's start with that. What is green transition? And why should the gender lens be part of this conversation?
Okay. So green transition is, from a gendered perspective, refers to a shift towards environmentally sustainable and low carbon economies. It also looks at how this shift affects not just men, but women, because it affects them differently. So how does this shift affect them in terms of how they assess the opportunities that comes with the green economy, the resources available, and also the decision-making processes of the green transition? Also, it recognizes that climate change and environmental policies are not gender neutral. Sometimes there's that error where it is assumed that the climate change and environmental policies should be a one-size-fits-all. No, they interact with already existing social inequalities. And so gender equality must be central to the green transition, because men and women experience environmental challenges in their own distinct ways. Women, especially in developing countries, again, such as Ghana, depend heavily on natural resources for their agriculture, for water, for the energy they use at home, and yet they have less control over land. Being a Ghanaian, I'm sure you know that in some parts of Ghana, women do not inherit land. They also have less control over finances and also have less control over the technologies. And so However, my work with women, I have realized that they hold valuable knowledge when it comes to resource management. In fact, one of my women groups that I work with during the fall armyworm invasion in Ghana, I think that was 2019 thereabouts, I had a meeting with my women group and agric extension officers, and you would be amazed at the information they were giving these agric extension officers about how to be able to deal with the fall armyworm. And these were information that the agric extension officers did not have. And so they have valuable knowledge in terms of their resilience and their valuable knowledge in sustainable practices that when they are brought on board will be valuable for the transition. And therefore, I believe that the transition should be given a gendered perspective to ensure that policies are inclusive and that opportunities in the green sector are equitably distributed so that the transition becomes more effective, sustainable, and transformative. Thank you.
So many sectors driving the green transition historically have been dominated by men. Sectors such as or fields such as engineering, green technology are all dominated by men. How can we address this imbalance so that women will be part of the green transition?
Yes, what you have said about the low representation of women in the green sector is backed by not just hearsay, but also by data. I took the pain to take note of some data. And according to the International Renewable Energy Agency, globally, women make up only 32% of the renewable energy workforce. And according to this study, the 32% has been consistent since 2019, which means that since 2019, it's been stagnant. Women have not moved beyond the 32% renewable energy workforce. Also, in more technical and senior roles, women representation in studies have shown that they've declined, with only 28% in STEM positions, and then 22% in technical trade, and only 19% in leadership roles. So even as 32% are in the renewable energy workforce, only 19% are playing leadership roles. So many women are concentrated in lower paying jobs or administrative positions and not the high value technical roles. A study by the IMF I also looked at says that labor data about women are underrepresented in green jobs compared to other sectors, yes. And this is partly because of the lower participation in STEM education and training. Also, about half of women workers in the renewable sectors report that workplace bias or discrimination is what has limited their retention and advancement. So it means that workplace biases such as, oh, if we employ her, she'll get pregnant, or she's not skilled enough to be able to take up green sector jobs, which have been identified as manly. So these are some of the data that are there. And so the transition, even though it's generating new economic opportunities, it is rather reinforcing existing gender inequalities.
So you mentioned some of the barriers, including low participation in STEM education, workplace biases. Are there any other barriers that are preventing women from fully participating in the green transition?
Okay, I will say that the barriers are numerous. The barriers are numerous. First of all, we have the structural barriers where even our educational system does not encourage women to go into STEM. And you know that STEM has to do with technologically related innovations. And so even from the growing up, girls do not take up mathematics courses, technical courses, engineering courses, because they are told that it's the preserve for boys. So this has also served us. And so when they grow and they finish university, the opportunities available are not, they may be available for women, but a lot more women cannot take part in these opportunities.
How can governments and policymakers ensure that these barriers are addressed rather than deepening existing inequalities? How can policies be introduced by governments to address some of these barriers or challenges?
Okay, so it will require both structural and multi-sectoral intervention. I will first of all say that we should look at our educational and skills pipelines, strengthen girls' access to STEM, encourage girls to take up green-related educational opportunities, such as engineering. And then also, I believe that there should be scholarship, there should be mentorship. Mentorship is the go-to word now. We need to provide mentorship for our girls to be able to look up to such careers when they grow up. We also need to provide them with career guidance and encourage them to take up such skills. I also believe in gender-responsive training that offer targeted training for girls and women, such as solar installation, green, green construction, and make this training flexible. Also, there should be inclusiveness in the workspace. Employers must set measurable gender targets, make a conscious effort, not be able to target gender percentages that they want to see grow in their organization. There should also be flexible and supportive policies in the workplace, such as flexible work, parental leave, and safe work environment. Parental leave, I mean that we know that per the physiology of women, they would give birth, which will require them to take some time off to cater for, nurture the baby. They will also once in a while menstruate, and that could come with some pains and some uneasiness that will not afford them the opportunity to make it to work. I'm saying that there should be supportive policies to accommodate these peculiarities of women. There should also be access to finance. Financial institutions should design gender-sensitive products. We know that in our part of the world, because a lot of women do not have access to land and do not have access to property, they are not able to offer collateral, and so are not able to engage in women-led green businesses. And also in terms of policy and regulations, government should embed gender criteria in climate policies and also in public procurement and also in energy products. Make it inclusive and not an option. It should be a requirement. Government should insist on that. And then also we need to change social norms. by addressing deep-rooted social norms that define certain sectors as male domain. And how can we do this? We can do that by public awareness campaign, identifying role models, and also making women leaders in the green sector visible for our girls to look at them and shift their perspectives. I'll say that the imbalance will not correct itself automatically. We can't wish it. It will require intentional efforts where gender equality is treated as a core objective rather than an afterthought. Yes.
Viewers, this is the Green Transition Show with me, Dr. Francis Tuokun. Today we have an important guest who is helping us to answer the difficult question, is the green transition leaving women behind? Our guest is Professor Daniella Delali Sedegah. She's the Dean of Student Affairs at University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Somenya, Ghana. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. You can follow us also on Facebook, TikTok, or on LinkedIn. Prof, I like the concept of mentorship. Can you throw more light on that? It's something that has benefited me greatly in my field. I have many mentors that I look up to for guidance and also for help. If you can throw more light on that, particularly the benefits. Many of us do not know why we should keep or we should have mentors. Can you explain that clearly to us?
Mentors are very, very important. Mentoring helps to guide people along not just their career lives, but along their life journey. Unfortunately, there are fewer female mentors in the green sector. And because of that, it has created a gap where women have very few people to look up to. But that should not also stop women and girls from taking up, identifying individuals, not necessarily women, but then also men who are ready to assist us, to assist the girls to also climb the leadership ladder. So mentors are very, very important. They've made mistakes in the course of their career, and they are able to assist those who are coming up to maneuver those mistakes and also be able to rise easily and avoid the mistakes that they made, and also provide some form of coaching in terms of how to go about their lives.
In many developing countries, such as Ghana, women are already playing very active role in sectors such as agriculture, natural resource management, and community resilience. However, their contributions are often not recognized. So how can we ensure that women's contributions in these sectors are fully recognized and supported in the green transition?
Okay, so we can ensure that by, again, I'll say the word for me is always being intentional about it, showcasing the works of women who are making it in the green sector, highlighting their roles, rewarding them to serve as some motivation for those who are coming up. Because if we don't motivate them, I remember some years back, we had a national chief farmer in Ghana who was a woman. And that was very, very encouraging for a lot of women to know that if you put in hard work, it comes with reward. So there should be a reward system that is attractive enough, a reward system that is attractive enough to encourage women to be able to also aspire to such heights.
Thanks for that. But what it means also is that we all have a role to play to encourage women in the sector. But I want us to stay specifically with the financial sector, financial institutions, businesses, and corporations. What role do you think they have to ensure that we are able to promote gender equity within the green transition?
You mean the financial institutions?
Financial institutions, businesses, corporations, what role do they have? You've identified some barriers. So we want to know what role these institutions have to ensure that there's gender equity within the sector, the green transition sector.
Okay. So I think that financially, especially for the financial institutions, there can be a more flexible way of providing women with financial opportunities like loans, because, and again, in a part of the world, because most women do not have the collateral, perhaps we could encourage women's groups and cooperatives and help women organize these cooperatives to assess markets, because there's strength in numbers. So when they come together, we encourage them to form cooperatives. They'll be able to assess markets, be able to assess financial support, be able to assess training too. We should also value local and indigenous knowledge. Women have extensive knowledge to offer. And so we should value it enough to bring them on board to be able to also offer their support. Women should not be, there shouldn't be gender tokenism. There should be that conscious effort where women are brought on board to be part of the decision-making process, from the decision-making process to the from the planning stage to the implementation stage. Also, women must be included in national climate strategies explicitly, and also be part of the nationally determined contributions of countries and also sector plans. We should also be able to create an opportunities where women can secure land and be able to control resources and be able to invest in sustainable practices. Because let me refer to this study I did in the middle belt of Ghana, where women are not able to invest over the long term because you never know. The tenureship is so short. You never know when a male relative comes and says, I need a land. So whilst men are investing in long-term investments, women are investing in short-term investments because the land does not belong to them over the long term. And I have also noticed that as part of that study, I realized that once the land begins to attract value, automatically it is taken away from the woman. It is only given to them when it does not attract value. But once it begins to attract value, maybe the district assembly is located there, and so people are buying land, or a university has been built there, and so people want to rush there and acquire land to build hostels, then automatically these lands are taken away from the women. Also, I believe that there should be targeted technical support where grants are offered or subsidies. Women should be offered subsidies for climate resilience projects.
Okay. Talking about, I think your study is really interesting, and we may find time to discuss that in detail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you go ahead. If you want to add something about the study, that would be interesting.
Okay, so the study was on cashew production in terms of land ownership in the middle belt of Ghana. I looked at the Bno area, the Bno regions, I mean the former Brong-Ahafo region. So now we have 3 regions there. And I noticed, okay, the study showed that women are not able to engage in cash cropping, such as cashew, cocoa, because of the limited tenureship over the land. So having access to the land is not equitable to having ownership of the land. The two are different variables. And so once they cannot engage in any long-term investment, such as the cash crop, because if the man comes and says, your family head, we call them a busuapenyi here, says that he wants his land, are you going to cut it and waste your investment? And so they want to do fast-growing crops like cocoyam, like cassava, so that if the landowner comes and says, I need a land, at least you can ask for 2 months or 3 months to harvest your crops and give him back his land. Also, I noticed that land is always only given to women when it has lost its fertility. So when it's lost, they are given the infertile lands, and so they are not able to use it well. I mean, they are not able to use it to benefit themselves because it is poor yielding. Yes.
Viewers, this is the Green Transition Show with me, Dr. Francis Tuokun. Our guest is Professor Daniella Delali Sedegah. She's the Dean of Student Affairs at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Somenya, Ghana. If you have not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button so that we can continue to bring you very insightful topics on the show. So, having said all of that, I would like to find out from you how the green transition, in your view, can be used to promote gender equality.
How can it be used to
promote gender equality? Can it be used to promote gender equality rather than widen it?
Of course, it can be used to promote gender equality. Yes, it can. It can be used in the sense that it has potential, yes, but again, not automatically. It can be used as an opportunity to open up educational opportunities for girls and open up job opportunities for girls. It is also an opportunity to create space for women leadership and innovation, because when you expand their educational capabilities, you automatically give them the opportunity to be innovative. So yes, it can also help in efficiency, technology efficiency, like clean energy. It can also lead to efficient irrigation. It can also lead to efficient water access, because don't forget that women, especially in our part of the world, are those who use these facilities at the domestic level. And so if they have access to such training and their capabilities are expanded, it gives them the opportunity to think of innovative ways to be able to go about their duties at home, because they understand it better.
Met many young people who have asked me this question, that how can they get into the green transition sector? How can they develop careers in the sector? So for the students, the many students watching us, if one of them wants to develop a career in green transition or in the green sector, how do they go about it?
Okay, I think like to start from the career aspirations, from the word go. What do they aspire to be? The green sector is broad and it is very, very promising. There are a lot of opportunities. Even looking at just green technologies alone is an opportunity that one can look at in terms of agricultural technology, coming up with innovative ways to go about farming. Yes, I think that there's also that there's also the climate adaptation space which is also an opportunity that people can take advantage of. Then we have green enterprise, where now, because of the sustainability consciousness, people are beginning to look at things that are green, things that are inorganic, things that are organic, rather. So the green enterprise is also a very big space where we can also take advantage of. We can also look at solar construction, solar installation. These are opportunities that you can take advantage of even after your university. And it is available, it is a skill. When I was at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, I remember that they used to do occasional training on this. And it wasn't necessarily engineering students who were taking advantage of it. It wasn't necessarily engineering students. Other non-engineering students were also taking advantage of it. And it is promising. So the green sector is so wide that it comes with a lot of economic opportunities that we can all take advantage of.
So does it mean that, students don't necessarily have to do a course related to, let's say, the environment, sustainability, climate change? They can do different courses, but still end up pursuing a career in green transition, isn't it?
Yes. Let me give credit to the Pentecost University in Ghana, where they are creating opportunities for students who did not read STEM. Students who did not read STEM at the secondary level. They're giving them opportunities to be able to do a 1-year program that serves as an introductory or preparatory program. And then they're able to take up STEM programs. So you don't necessarily have to have done those courses. There are opportunities along the way that you can take advantage of and drift into the green sector.
Okay, so it means if you study general arts in secondary school, for instance, you can go to Pentecost University, and in the first year you do STEM courses that can lead you to pursue engineering. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I can think of the Pentecost University for now. I think that I can think of them for now. They are those that was what I read about, and I felt that it was very laudable.
Okay, I think this can be replicated in other universities across Ghana, because some people, at that formative years, you are probably not you don't usually decide your career that early, right? And so you may start with general arts, and then later you realize, I want to do engineering. But in Ghana, once you do general arts in secondary school, you cannot pursue engineering at the university. It becomes very difficult. So that preparatory stage will give you the opportunity to do courses that will enable you to pursue engineering or even medicine.
Yes, and you know that in most of the time, by the time you are choosing, a lot of the programs are chosen for us by our parents.
Yes.
They say, "Oh, you read so well, you have to do law. You love mathematics, you have to do science." And so a lot of them finish their secondary education before they realize their passion.
Yes.
And so I think that this situation where they are given the opportunity to have that preparatory training to qualify them for the mainstream is very laudable.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you are watching us, this is the Green Transition Show with me, Dr. Francis Tuokun. Our guest is Professor Daniella Delali Sedegah. She's the Dean of Student Affairs at University of Environment and Sustainable Development in Somanya, Ghana. Prof, any final comments. Do you have any final comments to share with us?
Thank you very much. I believe that the green sector comes with a lot of opportunities. It must not be one-sided. I believe that there are a lot of things that different segments of the economy can do to help. I think that government should design gender-responsive climate and energy-backed policies, energy policies, and these should be backed by funding. It should not be expensive for women to be able to take up such careers. I also think that there should be, organizations should be given gender targets, especially organizations in the green sector should be given gender targets where they must be, it must be enforceable that when you set up an organization, you must have this particular number of women, not necessarily in the administrative sector, but in the technical and leadership sector. I also believe that there must be an opportunity for women to be able to secure land. There must be an opportunity for women to secure land and also be able to enforce their land rights. In terms of businesses, we should also create an opportunity where women are able to work with flexible work arrangements. A woman should be able to give birth, go on maternity leave, and know that she's coming back to her work. The potential for her to go on maternity leave should not be the reason why she's not employed. And also the potential for her to go on maternity leave should not be the reason why she's not promoted to be able to advance to a leadership role. And then also, women-led enterprises should be included in the supply chain and green projects. It must be a requirement. There should also be consistent and regular skills development for women in green jobs. Perhaps we should even, as a nation, such as Ghana, where I find myself, we should have a green unit at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. I don't know whether we have it, but I don't know. Do you think? Are you aware whether we have something like that?
No, I'm not. I'm not aware. I know the Energy Ministry has transitioned from Ministry of Energy to Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. So they've added green transition to the ministry to address issues of issues related to greenery or the green transition sector. Yeah.
But when you come to trade and enterprise, I don't think that we have a green sector, a green unit. So I think that it should be, skills should be developed in that area for women to be able to take up green jobs. Also, I think that civil societies should continue doing their work, their good work they're doing on advocacy, but they should also advocate for more women in green decision-making bodies. There should also be that conscious effort to create cooperatives of women to be able to take advantage of green opportunities. So I think that these are the things that if government decides to do it, if industry decide to do it, it will help to create space for women. I also believe that there should be that awareness raising. Perhaps these opportunities are not out. People are not aware of them. So there should be that conscious awareness creation about the opportunities that comes with the green sector. And across all sectors, women must be at the table. I mean, from the local level to the national to the international, to create an inclusive leadership situation, which is efficient and fairer for all, including women. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And talking about awareness creation, that is why this show exists. It exists to...
Kudos.
Yes,
kudos
thank you.
For that.
Yes, it exists to unpack some of these issues related to climate change, sustainability, and technologies, the politics within the green sector. And we bring global experts to discuss the issues, global experts across the world. We are not limited to a particular region, but all the regions of the world. This is how much time will permit us. We thank our guest, Professor Daniella Delali Sedegah, for for such an insightful conversations we had. If you have enjoyed the conversation, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, The Green Transition Show. You can also follow us on TikTok, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your time. We will see you again next time.
Thank you very much, Francis, and thank you for having me. Bye.
Yeah.